This officer needs to be arrested immediately.
Make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes avoid that charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's
Footage of this officer trying to convince a witness to accuse Kyron Lacey of being behind a fatal accident has leaked.
The lady in the back of me, she didn't know what was happening. That's how she called that record. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? That's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now.
In the body cam footage, you can hear the witness say that a gold truck behind him caused the accident, not Kyron Lacey in his green Dodge Charger. This was all in an attempt to get this witness to produce a false witness statement, which they actually refused, if you can see here. Statement written by Tyler Werner says, Highway 20 green Charger coming head on, passing multiple cars. Coming head on, I had to slam on the brakes to avoid accident. Then I had to veer off road to avoid getting hit. Then I stopped to check on the cars behind me. In the wreck, I was traveling north. The Charger was traveling south in the wrong lane. As you guys can see, the witness refused to sign this. This coming after an investigative report determined that Kyron Lacey was about 72.6 yards behind the vehicle at the time of impact.
72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles.
They're not negating the fact that he was swerving lanes. They are negating the fact that he was the person that caused that fatal accident, killing that 78-year-old man. And behind this is Louisiana officer Tyler Werner, and if you ask me, he needs to be thrown in the nearest cell. The sad part regarding this is Kyron's lawyer claims that he told him he only needed one more day to prove his innocence before Kyron took his own life, unfortunately. I honestly hope his family is gearing to lawyer up. I know they are hurting. There's a lot going on in this case, and something in the milk ain't clean. I'm curious to know what you guys think regarding this. Let me know down in the comments.
We are now finding out that Lacey never caused that car crash and he was framed by the police. He passed away for no reason. You see, come to find out, Lacey was nowhere near the accident when it happened. You can see his car literally be the last vehicle at the scene, and it just goes around him. When a witness told the officer that the person who caused the accident was the woman, the officer led the witness and told him, no, I need you to say that that Charger is the one who caused the accident. Because of this situation, Lacey's draft stock dropped. People were attacking his family and him on social media, saying that he took the life of a veteran. And due to an altercation that he got the night before court, he thought he was going to jail for life and just decided to go to the Lord. The officers and investigators that framed him for this incident and forgot that body cams exist, they need to be charged. They need to be in jail as well. Give them the same amount of time Lacey would have got. Rest in peace to him.
So y'all meaning to tell me that Kyron Lacey, the football player from LSU, wasn't even a part of that car wreck? Y'all bullied this man all in his comments, calling the police station, saying that he caused the car wreck, left the scene, didn't report it, and had that man commit suicide, and they just dropped the video on the whole time. He wasn't even a part of the car wreck. Nor was he by the car wreck. This man was about to be something great in the football scenery, and y'all tricked this man off the streets on something that he had nothing to do with. I am like so in shock right now. Like, if I was his family, I wouldn't let up on their ass. The police officers, the comments, anybody. I be on the internet every day going crazy because y'all just had this man commit suicide a few months back over something that he had nothing to do with. No shade, my prayers go out to that man's family, but that shit just broke my heart, y'all. Go to the neighborhood talk page and look at that video. That man was nowhere near that wreck. The wreck happened 10 seconds before he even pulled up.
Rest in peace to Kyron Lacey, man. The LSU football player who was falsely accused of causing a chain reaction accident that killed a 78-year-old veteran. Rest in peace, because you were innocent the whole time. I will go over his college career real quick, but I want to jump straight into the meat of what this video is about. So in December 2024, there was a car crash in Louisiana that killed a 78-year-old man named Herman Hall. Authorities allege that Lacey was driving recklessly, speeding, and illegal passing contributed to a chain reaction accident, and then he fled the scene without contacting authorities. That's what the reports say. They charged this man with negligent homicide, felony hit and run with death, reckless operation of a vehicle. An arrest warrant was issued in January 2025. Lacey turned himself in on January 12th. He was released on bail of reportedly $151,000. The entire time he was fighting this case, his lawyers presented the evidence showing that his car was 70 yards behind this car crash. If you're 70 yards behind it, how are you responsible for causing a chain reaction by reckless driving and illegal passing? It makes zero sense. And his lawyer, according to this information here, they presented this evidence the entire time. So after being charged with all of this, his mental was real messed up, right? He's getting threats. He's being blamed for stuff he didn't do. People were threatening his family. He thought that his NFL career was over because everybody was putting the blame on him. You could only imagine what that would do to a young man's mental. So he was going through a lot. And on April 12th, 2025, Laci was found dead in Houston, Texas. Or the authorities state that it was an apparent suicide by firearm occurring after a police pursuit. Now, the reported sequence was a verbal altercation with a family member. A gunshot was fired into the ground. Laci left the scene, a pursuit, then a crash. The officers approached the vehicle and they found him deceased. The reports say during the car crash, he shot himself. There's a thin line between sane and insane, all right? He was going through so much that he couldn't see a future past what was right in front of him. This is extremely unfortunate, and I just want to say to everybody, black, white, everybody, right? We got to take care of our people, man. We got to watch our brothers and sisters. And mental health is such a serious issue in America in general, right? And we need to give people a lot more grace, man. We tend to blame people so quickly, right? We don't understand what that could do to a person's mental. You get what I mean? This dude was innocent the entire time. But yet, pressure from the internet, pressure from the public, right? Going through all of these cases when you know you innocent, some people can't take that kind of pressure, all right? So rest in peace to Kyron Laci, man. This is unfortunate, bro. I really don't know what else to say. I remember this case when it first came out, but he was put into a situation, a ton of pressure was put on his shoulders, and he couldn't take it.
This man and his family deserves justice. I can't imagine what they last days was of him knowing he's completely innocent. He's supposed to be preparing for the biggest moment in his life, receiving interviews and going to trainings, yet he's being smeared by the media and the police. The police report being completely false is something we really got to sit with. Investigation revealed the driver of the Dodge, later revealed as 24-year-old Kyron Laci of Thibodaux, recklessly passed multiple drivers at a high rate of speed by crossing the center lane and entering northbound lane. As Laci was illegally passing other vehicles, and the driver northbound pickup truck abruptly braked and swerved to the right to avoid a head-on collision with approaching the Dodge. And then you see the footage, and you see that's not what happened at all. Being accused of something so inhumane and unethical took this man's life and has everlasting impacts on his family forever. There's no way you could have seen that footage and still blamed him. But what if I told y'all law enforcement doubled down and saying we're not debating who was behind that car, but he still did it.
So you've all seen the video now circulating online. It's impossible to ignore that Kyron Laci was innocent. He tried to tell them. The man tried to tell them and explain, but no one listened. This young black man didn't cause the wreck. Okay, yet right from the start, everyone dragged him online, blamed him left and right, especially in that community because the victim was white and he was black. The narrative was built on assumption and not evidence. So why is this footage only coming out now? Why was it hidden when his trial was ongoing? I mean, the police had the authority to release that video for evidence. Why was the public never shown this in real time? In the video, his attorney released, we saw the video the attorney released. The evidence was clear, is clear. At the moment of the crash, Kyron's vehicle was over 70 yards behind the scene, not ahead of it. That fact directly contradicts the version of events pushed in media and in court. Let me be crystal clear. The officer on the scene and the person originally blamed as the victim in this wreck must be held accountable. The shift of blame onto Kyron was not accidental. It was deliberate. That corruption of justice demands consequences. The police department should be sued. The families deserve answers. I mean, just imagine carrying that burden, knowing you're innocent, but being treated as a monster, expected to defend yourself against lies while your reputation is torn apart. Kyron must have been tormented by that. I mean, who could endure such an injustice? In short, this man was framed by a police officer, a so-called officer of the law. This is beyond messed up, guys. What's even more horrifying is this. Kyron was never near the impact. He was a witness. In fact, if anything, this man was supposed to be a witness from a distance. He watched this unfold, yet he was made the scapegoat. I am infuriated, guys, especially after I watched his funeral, seeing the grief, knowing his life was destroyed because of lies and prejudice, Oh my goodness. Please, guys, go ahead, watch all the reactions this is getting from social media, study them, and go ahead, drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please speak the truth. Yeah, and before I go, here's what I'm beginning to think about this whole thing, because maybe, just maybe, in fact, not every Black American person in jail is guilty, I'm telling you, but the system is built to condemn them first and ask questions later. Kyron Laci deserves justice. He deserves his name cleared for good, and consequences must be faced by those culprits. And we owe it to him to demand accountability for those who failed him. Let's continue watching the reactions this has gotten all over social media.
So let me get this straight. Y'all mean to tell me Kyron Laci spent the last few months of his life being called a murderer for reckless driving so much that Kyron Laci ended up taking his life? All to find out it was made up. All to find out it was made up. And the police lied on him. And the people involved in the accident lied on him. And it was some other woman's fault. And he wasn't even involved in the accident. In fact, I made a video saying R.I.P. Kyron Laci. And somebody got in the comments said, don't say R.I.P., he killed a veteran. Well, now we know he didn't. He had nothing to do with that. I need to see a lot of people getting on here and talking bad about that woman who caused the accident, as well as those police officers for causing that boy Kyron Laci to take his life. R.I.P. Kyron Laci.
Jack Mack needs to be terminated. This man is not a journalist. He is a joke. He caused a black man to unalive himself, in my opinion, and then wants to issue out this turns out he wasn't the guilty party. This guy, this young, promising kid, unalived himself based on allegations which you pushed, and you're just like, well, here's his GoFundMe. Here, support his loved ones. I made a mistake. Turns out I was wrong. You push racism so much by a lot of your comments, and you play on that with your audience. And then you just get up here and go issuing a half-hearted apology. You need to be fired from Barstool Sports. You are not a journalist because you weren't doing your due diligence. You pushed a narrative because you knew it would sell, because of course racism sells, and now you have to walk back your claims. This man needs to be fired immediately, expeditiously. Don't even wait for him to get another check. Do you understand me? Don't clock in on Monday.
What's so sad about this situation is that he'd probably still be here if the police actually did their job and did a thorough investigation. But instead, they saw a young black man who was headed to the NFL and decided that they were planning to make an example out of him. They were feeding us nonstop images of him and his mugshot, just like this one. Or they would show us pictures like this of the person who lost their life in the accident that wasn't his fault. And the last thing we saw before he took his own life was headlines like this, telling us that he was on a high-speed chase. Mind you, he was only on a high-speed chase from the police because he got into an argument with a family member and he happened to have a firearm and let it off into the ground, not hurting anyone. Not saying it's okay that he did that, but no one was injured, and he was afraid because he was only 2 days away from his trial where he was being accused of unaliving somebody. Even more interesting is that the video footage that the lawyer has released shows that he wasn't even close enough to the accident and in fact went around the accident after it already happened. Mind you, the police were calling it a hit and run. A hit and run, but he didn't hit anybody. And he didn't run, he just kept going and went around the accident. But again, a young black man headed to the NFL, and here we are. I'm praying for him and his family because I'm sure that this is really hard for them to deal with at this time, and they were done so wrong.
A white woman lied on Kyron Laci, and it ultimately led to him taking his own life.
And we have heard this story time and time again of a fucking white woman lying on a black man and it resulting in either jail or death for that black man. Kyron Lacy had his whole life ahead of him. Was clear cut to go to the NFL with the talent that he had. And because someone lied on him and they pinned the death of that man on him and that he was the cause of the wreck, he took his life because he literally saw his life, you know what I'm saying, just he saw no point in continuing. He went on that police chase and took his own life. And if you remember social media, specifically white people on social media, hell, even the owner of Barstool, people like that who were retweeting pictures of him doing his celebrations, doing the, you know what I'm saying, the pistols, which is part of the dance when you out there and you jigging and shit in Louisiana. But they use shit like that to assassinate his character. And it was relentless to the point where I'm sure it took a toll on his mental health. These were the charges that were pinned on him: negligent homicide, felony hit and run with serious injury or death, and reckless operation of a vehicle. His lawyer showed the footage of the wreck. The wreck happened. He was 72 yards behind the fucking wreck before he even got to where it had already happened. It already happened, and you see him in the Charger slowing down. Like what? He was recklessly driving at high speed and past multiple vehicles. How? When you saw the footage of him slowing to a complete stop because they had already wrecked. And shit like this continues to happen. And we're supposed to get on this app or get on these socials or read these articles and believe that black men are stringing themselves up on trees down south to take their own lives, when they will literally lie and pin an entire vehicular homicide on a person when they had this footage. It's just a sad fucking situation. And I hope his family sues the bricks off the state of fucking Louisiana, that police department, hell, just anybody they fucking can. And I'm glad that lawyer, if whether or not he had right intentions or not, or he just looking for a payday, at the end of the day, he put the truth out there and he has stood 10 on this bullshit. I just hope it can't replace the life of that boy being gone, but I hope they can get something. And then by something, I mean a lot for that bullshit. R.I.P.
So the man who framed and forced that witness to say Kyron caused that accident thought people was not going to find out who he was and how he looks like? This is Tyler Werner, and he definitely deserves to be under the jail cell for life. And actually, whoever the witness was that said Kyron did it when they knew he didn't, they deserve jail time too. False claims, man. I ain't gonna say much, but why Kyron though? He ain't even do nothing. Y'all understand, this man went to a random resident and told him Kyron caused that crash. Y'all seen the video? Kyron was nowhere near the crash. And because of that false claim, Kyron's career was basically over. He was wanted. And that made him do you know what? Cause of him right here. Tyler Werner. Kyron's family, man, they gotta sue. They better get whatever they want. Sue that whole police department. Anything. Kyron Lacy is supposed to be playing football right now. But because Tyler Werner, he's not here no more. And I'll say it again. Kyron's family, they better get whatever they want. Whatever.
Okay, so, after seeing all the videos and reading everything that's now coming out, it's beyond clear that Kyron Lacy, was framed. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a mistake. This was a setup orchestrated by the very same people who were supposed to protect and serve And the more I think about it, the more it breaks my heart and boils my blood, because the truth is, this young black man was innocent. He didn't cause the wreck. He didn't take anyone's life. Yet they made him carry that burden until it broke him down to an extent of, unaliving himself. Let's call this what it is: a failure of duty, racism, hate for black people, call it what you want, a betrayal of trust, and a disgusting abuse of power. That officer in charge, the one who chose to twist the story and shift the blame, needs to be arrested, period. There is no way around it. There is nothing like starting a trial. You cannot wear that badge and take the oath to uphold justice and then turn around and destroy an innocent man's life just because it's easier for you, because you're like this, you have this, you look a certain way, or because he's black. That officer didn't just ruin a reputation, he caused a young man to take his own life. And I want to say this clearly, every single person who pointed fingers, who dragged Kyren online, who judged him without knowing the facts, you owe that man and his entire family an apology. Every blogger, every commenter, and every so-called community member who condemned him before seeing the truth, this is your moment to reflect, because our words have power. Accusations have weight, and when you throw them carelessly at someone who's already fighting, to be heard, you can destroy a soul that was just trying to survive. This is very, very sad. It is very, very, very sad. And I'm not saying that lightly. This isn't just another tragic headline. This is someone's son, someone's brother, someone's friend, a young man who was, so full of life and potential, who had dreams, who wanted to make something for himself. He was going to change his family's life. He had the kind of spirit that lights up every room, according to what I've seen online. But because of a lie pushed by the same people sworn to uphold the law, he's gone. And it didn't just have to be this way, If that officer had acted according to his oath to protect and save with honesty, integrity, and fairness, Kyren would still be here. But no, because it was just another young black man, it was easy to pin the blame on him. It was easy to turn him into the villain, because deep down, they knew the system would protect them, not him. And that's what makes this so sickening. This is just not about one bad cop. This is about a culture that allows people like that to operate unchecked. It's about a system that lets lies stand until the truth can no longer speak for itself. Kyren tried to tell them he was innocent. He explained what happened. He pleaded for understanding, but no one listened. And now the video that could have saved his life is now surfacing after he's gone. That's not coincidence, guys. That is corruption. And all I can say is this: I've never been so emotional about anything like this before. Watching his funeral, seeing his family break down, hearing the people who loved him try to make sense of the senseless, it's gut-wrenching. You can feel the pain, you can feel the anger, you can feel the injustice hanging in the air, and yet there's still people out there acting like this isn't a big deal, act like his life didn't matter, acting like it's just another story in America's long list of tragedies. But this is not just another story, guys. This is America's reality, where being black can still mean being guilty by assumption, where your truth can be silenced, where your innocence can be twisted into guilt because someone in a uniform decided your life was disposable. Yeah, at this point, let me just call it that. That's the American Kyren Lacy lived in, and that's the American, people are still, black Americans are still living and fighting against today. So yes, I hope justice is done, and I hope that the officer who was in charge is tried and convicted, and I hope the department is held accountable for covering up the truth. I hope every person who played a part in this feels the weight of what they've done, because Kyren deserves more than thoughts and prayers. He deserves justice. He deserves his name cleared completely. He deserves peace. And to his family, my heart goes out to you. No parent should ever have to bury their child, especially not like this. You raised a good man, a good young man, a young man whose life was stolen by a broken system. And I pray that one day you'll see justice served in his name. So to everyone watching, don't just move on from this. Don't let this story fade away like so many others. Go ahead, speak up, share this video, demand answers, because the moment we stop demanding accountability is the moment we accept injustice as normal, and that can never be okay. Kyren Lacy should still be here today, smiling, dreaming, living big. you know, but instead we are left mourning another I'm so mad life, another life stolen by lies, and until justice is served, his story will not be forgotten. Rest in peace, Kyrene. May your truth finally be heard, and may your soul finally rest in peace, and may the world know the truth about you. Goodbye, everyone. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'll see you in my next video. Stay peaceful.